Next guest is the man behind the undisputed welterweight champion, Leon Edwards, and is getting ready to walk out together in what's said to be a historic night at UFC 304, reppin' Team Renegade. It's a pleasure to actually welcome this person to the show. For the very first time, I can't believe it, Dave Lovell, welcome to Submission Radio. I gotta ask you, dude, from your perspective, what's it like to actually be stepping into another massive home game for you in front of, your hometown, your home country?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Leon never lost on home soil. Yeah, we're just looking forward to it. It's a regular routine now that we go through. We know the program, and the only downside to it is he'll be walking out at 5:30 in the morning UK time.
So how do you? Because Tom Aspinall was on the show recently. And he's like, I actually don't know how we're going to how we're going to get ready for that. Like, we're going to try to get up at weird times, but it's like, I don't know how to actually perform at 100% at that time in the morning. Have you guys figured out a way to do that?
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have. What we did when we started camp now, we started day by day, starting an hour later at training. Till eventually now his last session we would train at 5 o'clock and his last session would be at 10 or 11 o'clock in the evening UK time. So we've just every day an hour, we started an hour later than our usual time at training. So for example, say Monday we started 1 o'clock, then Tuesday will be 2 o'clock, Wednesday 3 o'clock and so on.
And how has that been for you and the team? Has everybody acclimated nicely?
Yeah, it's not really made no major difference to us. It's just that Leon maybe had to just adjust his sleeping pattern slightly. But apart from that, no issues.
Now let's talk about the opponent, Belal Muhammad. What do you think about him being the next opponent for Leon Edwards?
Well, it is what it is. He's worked his way into the number one contendership. He's on a little, how many fight win streaks? 7, 6, 7, 8? I'm not too sure. Yeah, so, excuse me. Yeah, he's put the work in. He's worked his way into the number one contendership. So we can only fight who the UFC throw us. If he's the number one, then he's our target.
But it's interesting though, right? Because you've obviously fought Belal before. The fight didn't finish, the way that you would have liked, to kind of with the eye poke and all of that. But how do you get Leon, I suppose, and the whole camp excited and motivated to be 100% in training for Belal? Because I suppose, obviously, Belal's an incredible fighter. He deserves to be there. But there's a lot of huge names out there that potentially could be a lot more exciting for you guys. So how do you keep Leon motivated, on point, and not kind of, sometimes the tendency might be to, we've already fought this guy before, to kind of phone it in a little bit. How do you stay away from that as his coach and even for the team?
Oh, no. Leon and the team, we haven't took our eye off the ball. We're just looking. We've never fought Belal. How we're looking at it, we've not fought Belal before. This is the guy, we're beating, we're looking at him, treating him as if he was like the number one, like he was a champion and we're coming to take his title. That's how Leon approaches every fight. He's got a different kind of mindset, Leon is. A lot of people don't know this is very deep. And once he set his mind on something, you don't really have to, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't really have to motivate him, be on him. He knows what job he's got in hand. And he just knuckles down and gets on with it. He's one of them guys. He's just a super easy guy to train, really. He's every trainer's dream, basically.
Yeah, he's an absolute legend. What about Belal? I know he was talking to the Shmo the other week. I don't know if you saw his comments, but he's predicting that he's going to knock out Leon. He says he's going to walk through Leon. What do you make of those kinds of comments?
Listen, bro, talk is cheap, isn't it? Anybody can say anything. But the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? I can say I can go out there and knock out Nagano, but saying it, but doing it's another thing. Talk is cheap, mate. It's just fight talk. He's got to do something to try and brighten his character, get the people a little bit more interested in him. But I mean, it is what it is. We're ready to go. Belal or no Belal, doesn't matter.
What realistically, what do you think his game plan will be against you guys in Manchester over there? Because obviously he's not known for his knockouts. He's known for sort of being very strategic in that octagon.
Yeah, well, he's going to bring his A game, his wrestling A game. Wow, can he bring? He's not going to really want to stand trade with Leon. He may try his luck, see how where he goes, but once he realizes that the stand-up game is not in his favor, he's going to resort to what he knows, which is the wrestling game.
What do you think it is about that skill set that he's got, where he's able to kind of, um, you know, edge out those wins against people, kind of take them into his area, and kind of, win out a bunch of rounds and get the win. It's an interesting skill set. Not a lot of fighters have been able to figure out how to sort of get around it. What do you think is the key to him being able to have this kind of success?
Well, obviously, as we know, he's been amongst Khabib and the gang. He goes away, trains with them, so he would have adapted a lot of their styles. We have seen a slight difference in his wrestling, which I'm not prepared to reveal, but we've been working on certain things. The wrestling coach, some defensive and offensive wrestling moves against Belal. Well, yeah, for me, Belal can only bring his A game. He's got cardio on his side. He's got a good engine on him, but I think Leon can match him in every department.
What do you think? What do you think that atmosphere will be like for Belal? Do you think he understands that kind of energy, like what that energy is actually going to be like from the fans?
Yeah, I think when he comes, he's going to be on hostile territory, and he'll be made to feel so. It's like this, the hometown fighter always had the advantage, as Belal fought in anybody's backyard. And like coming to the UK, the UK fans, as you know, are very passionate and believe, they're behind their man 100%. So Belal may just be in for a little shock, to be fair.
I know you mentioned that Belal maybe doesn't have the same connection with some of the fans, and he's trying to kind of speak about knocking out Leon to kind of excite people a little bit. I wonder, why do you think people haven't really connected with Belal, even though he's on this amazing win streak and he's a great fighter? Why do you think they haven't really connected with him from the perspective of entertainment or excitement as much as some of the other contenders in the past?
Maybe it's because of his style of fighting. Maybe, I mean, in the UFC world, his style of fighting, they're known as crutch sniffers, as you know, they're wrestlers. Excuse me. And I believe he'll come try and press Leon up against the cage, grind him there, take him down, keep him down there for as long as he can. Try and grind out a decision that way. That's how I maybe see his fight game. But we're prepared in every department, my friend.
Now, obviously, you guys are not looking past Belal, and you mentioned that it's up to the UFC who's next for Leon. But if it was up to you, because I know you're excited about Leon making a legacy. I know he's mentioned that he wants to beat GSP's record, for example. Who would you ideally like to see next for Leon? Let's say everything goes to plan in UFC 304.
Well, we've got a few options, but if we're talking, what's the word I'm looking for? If we're looking for a fight financially that can obviously pay more than the average, would be obviously the fight with Conor. Conor's mentioned that he would move up to welterweight and fight Leon if he was to beat Chandler, but that went out the window. But as for anybody else, listen, we just take them as they come. You've got in the offings, you've got your shaft cats. What's his name? The wrestler guy who beat Dustin Islam is talking about moving up to welter. Well, I haven't really got nobody. I would say I would like Leon to fight. Apart from obviously, if he should to fight Conor, it'd be a great name to have on his CV. And plus, it's a mega money fight. If that was to happen in Ireland, could you imagine? But apart from that, I've got nobody special, brother.
Dude, that'd be huge. I know Nate Diaz even. Did you see that? Nate Diaz after the boxing match with Jorge Masvidal called out Leon Edwards
Yeah.
in the boxing. What did you make of that?
That is all a joke. That is, Leon ain't got time for that Mickey Mouse business right now, bruv. I mean, fair play to them that Nate is making money still and he's still fighting. But me personally, I think he needs to leave the game alone, bruv. He's taking a little bit too much punishment now. I know it was only boxing with Jorge, but he's still taking his toll on him, you know. Remember, this guy's got life after fighting. And if he carries on the way he is, he's not going to have much of a life, bruv. I mean, I love him and he's a great guy, but, you know, sometimes fighters need to be safe for themselves. And I think Nate is one of those cases, you know.
You know, it's interesting because I know your background is in boxing, and I've done a lot of cardio boxing classes over the last decade myself, but people don't kind of realize going from MMA to boxing, it's not necessarily the greatest thing, right? Because MMA is obviously a dangerous sport, but in boxing you take a lot of damage. It's not really what you want to be doing towards the end of your career, though, right?
That's correct. But, you know, money talks, bruv. And he's getting, obviously, they're getting purses that they cannot refuse. It keeps them still ticking, doesn't it? For those that haven't made use of their money through the career and now maybe having to hang on to this to rely to make some decent change to maybe put down for the future. Maybe that's the only thing I see them doing it for, because it's got to be just a money-based thing. Come on. Because their best fighting days are behind them. You know, the world knows this. Jorge's and Nate's. This is just some money-making scheme for them to keep, you know, rolling and earning a living, basically.
Just going back to Islam, coach, I spoke to Javier Mendez, and he's really adamant about wanting Islam to move up to welterweight. I guess from a perspective of interest, Islam versus Leon is quite a big fight because Islam has such a huge audience as well. But ultimately, how do you think Islam would do against Leon at welterweight?
Hey, listen, Leon's had a feel of him already because back in the day, they was at American Top Team, and when they basically first started out their career, and they did have a little wrestle along with Khabib and the rest of the boys. So, you know, Islam moving up to welter, would he be big enough? Would he have the same effect that he has at his weight now? I don't think so. Has he met a sharpshooter like Leon? No, he hasn't. And again, what can Islam bring to Leon? Size-wise, Leon's physically bigger than him, outreaches him. So again, he's going to resort to what he knows, which is his wrestling. So it's just unfortunate that if you look at the last guys Leon fought, Usman twice, Colby, all wrestlers. Now Belal, wrestler. So, you know, Islam, he's not known for his striking. They're known for their wrestling, and that's basically... Leon's improving. People don't understand, and that's which I told was it Ariel Hawani in the last interview. He said to me about the wrestling with Leon, and I said that everybody just may get shocked when Leon comes out against Colby and shows Colby and Usman his quality of wrestling, and he proved it to the world.
All right, guys, before we continue in the interview, I have a sponsorship announcement that you're going to want to hear, and that is with our friends from Manscaped, who are offering you 20% off and free shipping right now with the code word submission. Listen to me. I know Submission Radio has you sorted when it comes to your MMA coverage, but these guys have you sorted when it comes to your ball coverage. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is an absolute game changer. It comes with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, so you can choose between a precise trim or a smooth finish. And did I mention that it is waterproof? Yes, you can trim in the shower and avoid making a mess everywhere. It's perfect for those of us who appreciate efficiency. And let's talk about the beard hedger just quickly. Whether you're going for a neat stubble or a full-on lumberjack look, this trimmer has you covered. It features a titanium-coated stainless steel T-blade and 20 length options. You can achieve any style you want with just a twist of the zoom wheel. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra always ensures that you're looking your best below the waist, while the beard hedger takes care of everything else. 20% off and code word submission now, plus free shipping. Now back to the program.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because obviously Leon wants to beat GSP's record in the division. He wants to leave his mark there, but he did mention that because he strives for greatness, he wouldn't mind having a crack at middleweight sometime down the line. I wonder, what do you think about Leon moving to middleweight one day in the future? And does that excite you, the possibility of him going for that second title?
Well, yeah, one step at a time. But if that's his plan, which is not a bad plan, because we've got a few fighters that have done it and in the process of wanting to do it. So, why should Leon be any different? He's big enough that he could fill out to make a welterweight. A middleweight. I wouldn't suggest he stays there. But if he can go up there and pick a fight where he can get a title win and then move back down to welterweight, well, that would be his dream. To be fair, right now, that's his next move. But when that comes, we'll look on obviously making that move.
This is a little bit of a side question here, but you've got Israel, unbelievable fighter. You've got DDP, unbelievable fighter. Sean Strickland, Robert Whittaker. Those guys are just on the next level. Who do you think is going to be the champion by the time Leon moves up to middleweight? If you had to personally guess.
Oh, well, now. I don't think Israel, because in all fairness, I love him again, and Israel's my brother, but I think he's coming to sort of like the twilight of his career now. And if I was him, if he fights Strickus, maybe win the title, defend it once, or even just win that title and retire, because he's earned enough. He's got nothing more to prove. Well, I wouldn't like to see Leon fight Israel, because we're all close that way. We're all friends, so I wouldn't like to see that. Drickus, maybe, if Drickus is still hanging around. I think the easiest, well, I'll take that back. I don't mean the one of the fights that I think would be a good fight for Leon to showcase his skills against a man, Mr. Strickland, who's a kind of come forward kind of style fighter, which would suit Leon. Stand up again would suit Leon. But yeah, there's a few, but if I did have to say, would be around. Wow, Whittaker. I think Whittaker somewhere will be in the mix. Let's think again. I think Drickus will still be around somewhere, but if I had to pick out of a middleweight for him to fight, it would be Strickland or Drickus.
Wow, dude, that would be an amazing fight. I'd love to see that one day. And by the way, like those four guys, unbelievable fighters. So it's great to see the division in such a great spot. Just going back to welterweight quickly, Coach, as well. Obviously, a few of the guys are sort of hurt or not able to fight. I don't know what's happening with Shavkat. Hamzat's out of the division. You've got Jack Della, who's an Aussie fighter from Perth, but he's dealing with a really nasty infection, and unfortunately, he's out of the mix for a while. Yeah, he looks really good. I got to ask, do you think that, I know a guy that you know well, Ian Garry, what did you think of his performance against MVP? And do you think he makes it to a position where he'll actually challenge for the title?
Possible. He knows how to talk. He sells himself well. But yeah, I think he's the UFC can use this lad. He's blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. He talks well. He can fight a bit. The fight between him and MVP, it didn't live up to all its expectations, which I did tell everybody. I said, don't be surprised if it's a kind of low-key kind of fight, because the two kind of counter-strikers, and it was a bit too standoffish. I don't think Garry should have really made the noise he did leading up to the fight, because he was saying he's going to do this, and when Venom finds out, but it didn't work out that way. But listen, he won. That's the main thing. Excuse me. If he sticks around and he wins maybe another 2 fights and wins them in decent fashion, then he can be on the horizon as well. Like I said, it's all about money at the end of the day, bro.
Yeah, man. Well, it's great to have some young contenders in the division so Leon could break GSP's record and have fights that people are excited about. I'll let you go in just a sec, Coach, but as we wrap up, I got to ask, this Belal Muhammad fight, you've mentioned you're looking at him a little bit differently. His wrestling's different. You guys are approaching him like you've never fought him before. How do you think this fight goes for Leon?
Personally, I think Leon can stop him. If he gets careless, it could be early. But looking, and Leon likes to have a look, have a feel. If Belal doesn't walk onto anything, I think Leon can get him out there round 4, or win a unanimous points decision.
All right, man. Well, we can't wait to see you guys go out there and make history. Make sure to follow Dave at Dave Lovell Boxing on social media to check out all the latest and behind-the-scenes content. And congratulations. I mean, only a few teams are able to make the pinnacle of the sport, and you guys have definitely done that. I can't wait to see you guys have a home game, even if it is at 5 in the morning. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you, sir. You take care, bro.